These hydraulic steering pumps are the steering muscle in muscle cars, providing a power assist to give the driver more control. Using computer software, they design the pumps to fit specific classes of vehicles. They print a plastic model using a 3D printer. This is a time-lapse video of the process. The designer removes the plastic model and he sends it, along with the computer design, to a casting facility, which produces aluminum pump housing parts. Back at the factory, a worker mounts 12 of the castings in a machine with computer-controlled tooling. He activates the system and it moves the rack of castings into position. The tools machine the face of the castings. They bore center bearing holes and drill threaded holes for bolts. It's precision work, which will now be double-checked by a device known as a coordinate measuring machine. A worker clamps the pump housing in the machine. Then a ruby-tipped probe scans its dimensions. The machine analyzes the information. It verifies that every part of the housing meets the precise specifications. With that confirmation, he unclamps the part. This is the pump housing in the various stages of production. Other tools turn a solid aluminum dowel into a fitting for the pump's pressure bore. They sculpt the circumference and carve a complex geometry in the center for controlling the flow of power steering fluid. Another tool carves a thread to screw the fitting into the pressure bore, and the final one drills a fluid bypass hole. A blue anodized coating protects it from corrosion. A worker now locks the pump housing in a honing machine. The machine floods the pressure relief bore with lubricant as a stone hones the inner diameter to a precise tolerance. He then transfers the pump housing to a press. He inserts a bearing and shaft in the center bore. He places an aluminum tool over the bearing and shaft to align them correctly as he manually presses them into the bore. Once the bearing has been solidly entrenched, he removes the tool. He inserts a metal snap ring in a groove to retain the bearing and shaft. He turns the power steering pump over and installs O-rings to seal the pressure section. Then he installs the cam ring and the rotor with the vanes. As the rotor spins, the vanes will move in and out, collecting hydraulic fluid and pressurizing it to take the load off the steering wheel. He installs this critical subassembly in the pump housing. He screws it in place in the four corners. He turns the power steering pump over and seals the end of the pressure bore with an aluminum plug and copper washer. He now tucks the pressure relief valve in the open part of the pressure bore. He secures it with the special flow fitting we saw machined earlier on. He tightens the fitting with a torque wrench. He turns the power steering pump onto its side. He attaches a fitting to the intake port for the hydraulic fluid. The power steering pump is now equipped with all the working parts. Here's a look at the transformation. A display model with a cutout offers a peek inside. At the test station, a technician makes all the connections and runs it as if it was in an actual race car. A computer measures its performance and confirms that it meets all the technical requirements. The power steering pump is now ready for the twists and turns of professional racing.